What's up everybody, Age of Empires Tips here with another tutorial. This video will be all about fishing, both using villagers and using fishing ships. Fishing is a very profitable way to gather food in Age of Empires, so it's important that you know all about it. Also, I apologize for not uploading a video during the last couple of weeks. I've just been extremely busy, so I wasn't really able to make a video. But I have a lot of videos planned, so keep an eye out for that. New videos will come for sure. Anyway, with that being said, let's dive straight into the video. First off, fishing has changed quite a bit between the 1.0a version of Rise of Rome and the unofficial U-patch, which is version 1.1. Of course, I will address both of these, but I will start with fishing in the 1.0a version of the Rise of Rome expansion. In the 1.0a version of the Rise of Rome expansion, fishing is the most profitable food source in the entire game. It is way more profitable than both berries and hunting. It takes about 16 seconds for one villager to gather 10 food from fish, while at the same time it takes a villager about 22 seconds to take 10 foods from either berries or hunting. What this for instance means for the beginning of the game is that if you have a spot where the shore fishes are sufficiently close together, then you will be able to have a steady flow of villagers with just 4 villagers on fish instead of 5 villagers on berries. Keep in mind though, these shore fishes have to be sufficiently close together. This is actually quite rare, also depending on the map type. But for instance, in this situation right here, I have 4 villagers on fish, and this is really the maximum distance that you want your villagers to be from the storage pit. If it's closer, it's better. If they don't have to walk at all, that means they are directly touching the storage pit. That will be the best situation. If you're in a situation and you're not quite sure whether you need to put 4 or 5 villagers on fish, it is always best to just put 5 villagers on fish when in doubt. It's always very important in the beginning of the game to not have an idle town center and have a steady villager production flow. But if you think that you can get away with just 4 villagers on fish, then this will be beneficial for you because you can use that extra villager to collect wood or maybe scout the map. One of the great benefits of collecting food from shorefish is the fact that you can have a multi-purpose storage pit. In this case, for instance, I am making a storage pit next to some forest, and it's also next to a patch of shorefish. And this will be really beneficial for you because basically you can collect food and wood and you only need to build 1 storage pit. So if you found a forest next to the coastline, it is always a good idea to explore the area where the forest meets the shore. Or you can of course have fish and gold. Fish and animals. But wait a second, we missed fish and stone. Now in this situation you may be thinking, wow, that fish is actually quite far away from the storage pit. But that's actually quite fine. It doesn't matter if the fish is a little bit farther away, because the faster collection rate kind of makes up for that. So what about fishing using fishing boats? Fishing using fishing boats is also a great way to gather food, especially because it allows you to make additional population, and they don't require food to make, they require wood, which means that you can have an economy where all your villagers are collecting wood and you're only getting food from fishing boats. This can be absolutely great if you have a lot of fish in the sea. Whether or not you should make a dock kind of depends on your strategy. If you're planning for a tool rush, then you should probably not make a dock because it will slow down your tool time usually. However, if you are going for a Bronze Age strategy, then it's always a good idea to make 1 or more docks in order to have a solid economy in the Bronze Age. When you're making a dock, make sure that there is at least 1 patch of fish nearby, and preferably more. It makes no sense to make a dock in the middle of nowhere and just hope that there is some fish at a larger distance off the coast. So make sure that you've thoroughly explored the coast in order to find a suitable spot for your docks. Docks can also come in handy when blocking certain passages. Notice how my villager can pass in between the house and the shore. But what if I place a dock right here? The dock blocks the passage between the house and the water, and if I want to get to the other side, I have to walk all around the forest. You can use this to block enemies from your base before you have walls. Another situation where docks can be useful is on shallows. You can use docks to block the shallow from your opponent, making him unable to get to your land. Now this can sometimes be useful. For instance, in this case I'm using 2 docks to block off this shallow. However, it's kind of situational. For instance, in this case there's no fish nearby, so these docks are kind of useless. And sometimes the shallows are much bigger, so it requires more docks to block off the shallow. And already I'm investing 200 wood here, so it's kind of a situational thing. Anyway, I'm getting way off track here, so I'll save these concepts for a video on early on defenses. What you should keep in mind is that fishing is always a very profitable way to get our food, both from fishing using villagers and fishing using fishing boats. If you have a decent shorefish spot, you should always consider taking shorefish. It might come in handy. Also, with that being said, let's look at the U-patch changes when it comes to fishing. Now first off, shorefish has been reduced in amount from 250 to 200. Additionally, the collection rate has also been lowered and is now just a little bit faster than foraging and about as fast as hunting, which also saw an increase in collection rate. Now this drastically impacts the shorefish profitability. Now with these changes in mind, I would definitely not recommend starting with shorefish because it's simply not profitable enough. You will run out too quickly and you won't be able to sustain a solid villager production. So in this case it's probably better to go for berries right away or elephants. In fact, I would probably not recommend taking shorefish at all and instead make a dock at the shorefish spot and leave the shorefish for what they are, except if there is like 5 shorefishes right next to each other. Yeah, then it could be profitable to make a storage pit over there. But in general, I would not recommend building a storage pit next to the shorefish in the U-patch version. The only other situation where shorefish would still be somewhat useful is if it can be found together with animals, forest or gold mines or stone mines. I'm not sure if this will be exactly the same in the definitive edition, but I guess we will just have to wait and see. I'm still going to dedicate an entire video to shorefishing start, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions or you would like to see a video on a certain topic, leave it in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.